evening, and welcome back to the OHIO podcast Sunday evening roundtable discussion. I am your hostess with the mostest, Buckeye Boggs, aka the Podfather, and you are you, and we're so thankful you decided to join us this evening for what is going to be a fantastic show. Make sure you smash that like button. Do it now. Don't wait. Get it done. Get it out of the way. Just hit it now. Make sure you do share the show if you don't mind. Make sure you're helping us grow. We are now at over 4,000 subscribers. Thanks to Thursday night's push, and thank you to all of you who have subscribed to the channel. We truly do appreciate it. If you do not like the way my face looks or how I guess my voice sounds, but that's okay. You'll have to listen to it anyways. If you're going to go to the audio only podcast, give us a 5-star review. Go on over to the scarletandgame.com website from Mansided. There you can find us and a bunch of great articles as well. We're also the official Ohio State podcast of the College Huddle. Head on over to the College Huddle where you can find the OHIO podcasts and 80 of our closest friends from coast to coast. This evening's episode is brought to you by A Place at Home Senior Care. Is your loved one recovering from a recent hospitalization, stroke, or fall, or living with dementia and needing support at home? A Place at Home Dublin provides home care supportive services, bathing, dressing, mobility assistance, and medication reminders, all in the comfort of home. Learn more at aplaceathome.com/Dublin or call 740-472-8181. Let's bring on this evening's panel, everybody. As you can see, I am joined by both Dr. Cory, the Wild Man Chris Wilds, and our special guest this evening, it is Mecah. Mecah, how are you this evening?
Doing great. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. Cory, you had a good weekend?
Yeah. I would rather be in California for obvious reasons, but I had a good week.
Oh, we do. We understand completely, brother.
Mhm.
He said, Chris, what are you wearing there this evening? That looks rather snazzy.
I have got, and let me tell you, it's going to be up on the website tonight. We have the official OHIO podcast, Fear the Beard t-shirt.
Awesome.
Look at that. Isn't that awesome?
Fear the beard, baby. You're
Fear
going
the
to have,
beard.
everybody's going to need to go on there and get one. The easiest way to do that, after it's on the website, of course, is to head over to our website, theohiopodcast.com. There at the top, you'll find a link for store. You don't want to hit merch. Hit the store link. The store link will take you right over there to the store where you can purchase Fear the Beard t-shirt when that goes live this evening. We've got a bunch of great things to talk about, but I would be reminisced if I did not wish everybody a happy Mother's Day to all them mothers out there, especially the Podfather's mama. I called her today. I told her, I was like, I have to bring you on the show, and she laughed and she said, no, thank you. So, that's okay. We'll have to get the Podfather's mom on sometime. But we've got Mecah tonight. Mecah, I hope that you're having a great evening as well. Cory, I hope Bobby's having a good evening as well, and I'm sure Cory wished Lisa a good Mother's Day as well out there in Cali. All right, let's do this, shall we? We have an interesting topic tonight, everybody. I've been talking about this. I've been teasing it for a while. I ran across a article that I can't help but to just dissect, and it feels like something maybe I think, Chris, we've done before, but on a Sunday evening show, I think the panel would be nice to do it with a panel. So that's what we're going to do, everybody. We're going to break down the top 10 best jobs in college football. Now, before we do this, and before I tell you why, I'm going to go around and I'm going to ask you guys what your criteria was for making this list of yours, because I think that is really critical when we get into the X's and O's of that. So, Mecah, you're our guest this evening. I'll start with you, and then we'll just go counterclockwise. Mecah, what criteria did you use when making your top 10 list?
Well, one criteria I used was recruiting round. Like, are you able to get local recruits? Is talent around you. And another one I used was um, fan base support. Like, is the are the fans behind you? Do you have like a good booster program, all that stuff? Do you get support from the fans and other coaching staff and stuff? Is what I looked at.
Okay. How about you, Cory?
I think those are great criteria, and I do think fan support and all that stuff is very important. But I guess I was more new age college football centric, like who has a heavy NIL war chest, who
Well,
can
I
basically.
meant it like that. Like, are the fans supportive of the team in NIL wise and
That's a good
fan
point.
wise?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Then, yeah, is are they getting like? Do you have heavy war chests to spend as much money as you want? Because it's all about money, unfortunately. But also, you got to say like I'd like to say stuff like culture for like Ohio State, but it's really up to the coach to build that culture more than anything. So I think honestly, my number one criteria of NIL is like what teams are willing to spend money.
Are you ready? Because I actually went pretty in depth with mine.
All right,
I
cool.
I
figured
did
you
look at
would, you
NIL.
Mr. Analytical.
I looked at NIL. I looked at alumni and donor participation. I looked at program relevance over the last 25 years. I looked at long-term relevance of the program. I looked at the recruiting grounds, much as Mecah had mentioned. What kind of a talent-rich state are you? I looked at recruiting class rankings over the course of the last 25 years. And then, of course, I looked at championships, conference dominance over that period. And that's how I came up with mine.
So I looked at here's one none of you guys mentioned, and maybe this isn't the right thing to. Would I like to coach there or not if I was a coach? And then I tried very hard not to be Mr. Buckeye and wear my scarlet and gray glasses in this thing, but it just so happens not only would I love to be the coach at Ohio State, but everything I was looking at, Ohio State's really good at too.
Yeah.
It's so it's one of those things where I don't want to come off as he's just being a homer, but Ohio State's a really good job, man, and it's very interesting if anybody doesn't have Ohio State at the top of their list. So, like these guys,
Not to mention,
what's that, Chris?
I also took into account scandals and legal issues.
I did as well. I absolutely did the exact same thing. Yep, you have to. Um, so this is Andy Staples and Ari Wasserman's list that they dropped a little over a week ago, and I thought it was incredibly interesting. They have a lot of the same teams, however, their order is very, very different, and it got me thinking. Well, I wonder what our order would be if we did the same thing. So that's what we're going to start off talking about tonight. Is we're going to give our top 10 jobs. Now, here's how we're going to do this. We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to start at number 10. We're going to go down to number 1 and just give your school and give a quick synopsis of why you chose them, where you did, a sentence or two, and then we'll move on to the next guy. And then what I'll do is I'll take a overall, I'll take everybody's into account, and then we'll come up with a list of our own that's based off of everybody's rankings here. So, all right, as you can see, Andy Staples has got Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2, Texas number 3. Ari Wasserman has the same 3 schools, but in a different order. Texas 1, 2, Ohio State 3. They both have Oregon at 4, and then it gets very different from there. Outside of, they both got Alabama at 7th, the Scum at 8th. Interesting of note is Ari's got no Clemson in his top 10, but he's got Texas A&M at 5. Andy Staples has no Texas A&M at all. But he put Penn State in there. Just very interesting if you look at the differences too. So I can't wait to do this. Here we go. Miko, you are the guest. We'll let you go first. Who is your number 10 school and why?
Number 10, I got Oklahoma because they they got a great fan base. They're working on NIL, and they're usually consistent. They've had a couple down years recently, but they're in for a bounce back. And I've always just kind of liked that program in general, and what, and I think they're building something there.
Beautiful. Cory, you'll be next. We'll just keep going in the clock counterclockwise.
Sorry, I had my mic muted. Texas A&M, just basically based completely on their potential. They have an NIL war chest that's almost unlimited. I think they have a pretty solid pretty solid year next year. I actually think they're on the upswing right now.
Yeah, for me, I've got Miami in there. They're not what they were in the '80s, but I'll tell you, their NIL is kicking up. It's I think, hotbed for recruiting down in Southern Florida. And then, of course, if you look at outside the money, man, that's a destination where I think players want to go. How can you not want to be hanging out down there on South?
Number 10 for me, let's keep it in the same state. I went with the Gators. I went with Florida at number 10. I know they've been down lately, but you can win there. You can win national championships at Florida. I think they've got, when things are right, I think they got a fan base that's willing to support it. And you've got a hotbed for recruiting, as Urban Meyer has pointed out. Now, the downfall is you have to go up against Florida State and Miami within your own state, and then everybody else in the country who's coming on there well, including Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, etc., to try to grab talent from there. But the right coach in the right situation, I think, can definitely succeed at Florida. That's why I got the Gators at number 10. Moving on, Mika, number 9.
Number 9, I got Clemson. They do a great job getting recruits, and I think their NIL is picking up, and Dabo finally is coming around to the transfer portal thing, I think, which is gonna really help them, even though I don't really care for Dabo, but I think he's got a good program.
Yeah, Dabo's done a great job for sure. USC is my number 9. Their NIL hasn't quite caught up yet, but man, the explosion of potential. They have the number 1 recruiting class in the country right this second. Yeah, I don't know if it'll hold or not, but obviously they're catching up in those areas. I just think the potential for USC, and Riley didn't forget how to coach. He's not a bad coach. He's not elite, but he's not a bad coach. I just think you could, with the right person there, I think USC could be a juggernaut.
Yeah, for me, I'm actually going to agree with Mika here. I've got Clemson at number 9. How are they not higher? It's real simple. In the past, Dabo had refused to come into the future. He refused to embrace NIL. He refused to embrace the transfer portal. Starting to do that a little bit now. I really think that they're going to have a brighter future as he does embrace that. I've got Clemson at number 9 as well.
All right, number 9 for Bogsy. This is where I got Boomer Sooner. I think Oklahoma might have done themselves a disservice by joining the SEC. First year, not so great. I feel like Oklahoma, although I don't think they could end up falling into a Nebraska trap, because I think they're just close to Texas, which is a hotbed of recruiting. But if Texas A&M and maybe another one of the Texas schools starts to really ratchet up the recruiting, LSU can go into Texas, grab some recruits. Maybe Arkansas can sneak in there as well. Bama, Ohio State likes to take guys from Texas. Then that might dry up some of the recruiting for Oklahoma. And if Oklahoma starts to have some non-good seasons back to back to back to back, then they're in trouble of maybe not making the college football playoff for multiple seasons because they're just behind everybody else in the SEC. So even though I have them at 9, I would think Boomer Sooner back in the 90s probably was a top 7, 8, 7, 6, maybe even a top 5 job, but not currently right now. All right, that gets us to number 8. Go ahead, Mika.
I got Alabama, and the reason they're so low is I'm not really sure about Kalen DeBoer and what he's building there. I think they can be consistent, but I need to see more. But they seem to still be attracting recruits, and I think they have it in them to still be a consistent program. I just need to see more with that coaching staff.
Absolutely. For me, actually, I got Penn State number 8. Um, it's because I think we all crack on Franklin, rightfully so, but he's always been like right there, very very close. I just think they're a 10-11 win program. Their NIL's finally catching up. They want to spend money now. I just think again that's a big thing for me. Are they willing to spend money to back who they have? And if he doesn't do it this year, maybe they get off the top 10. But I think right now they're a top 10 job.
For me, this is where I've got USC. I mean, obviously, you got the glitz, glamour, the Heisman history. They're one of college football's elite programs throughout history. And now they're in the Big Ten. That means more NIL money flowing, more recruits, more television time. So I agree with Cory, what he said earlier. I think Lincoln Riley is a very good coach, maybe not elite at this point, but very good. He is a quarterback whisperer. So I really think that USC right now is one of the premier jobs out there.
Here we go. I'm about to really make some people mad. This is what we do. We ruffle
Don't
feathers.
you do it, Eric.
Number 8, Notre Dame.
Oh,
Notre Dame.
Chris thought it was somebody else.
Yeah, he did.
Had you done it, we were through.
Notre Dame is a program with a ton of tradition. The problem is the majority of that tradition has got cobwebs on it for the majority of college football fans today. Unless you are 50 years or older, Notre Dame is a has-been. They're not a current program. Yes, I know they just played in a college national championship game, but they've been there multiple times, and every time they've been there, they've gotten their butts kicked pretty easily. Now, Ohio State, yeah, it was a closer game. I get it. Ohio State let their foot off the gas. Let's be honest on that. Number 2, I think it's incredibly hard to recruit at Notre Dame. Incredibly difficult. Not only because they have some decent academic standards, and that's a joke because they have really good academic standards. The restrictions that are placed on the coach who coaches at Notre Dame because of not only the academic standards, they have certain rules like they can only take a graduate transfer out of the transfer portal. Things like that. The other schools don't have to deal with, right? So and then you have it's incredibly religious with their Catholicism, and so you have to try to sell that along with coming here to be developed and eventually possibly winning a national championship, etc. It kind of limits you a little bit when you do that. So I have them at number 8. I'm sure you guys have them much higher than that, but I have them at number 8. Let's go on to number 7 now. Go ahead, Mika.
Number 7, I got Penn State. I really like what they're building there. I'm not sure Franklin is gonna be the guy long term, but they do a good job bringing in recruits and developing, and NIL is coming into it. So I'll be anxious to see what they can do. Like I said, the only reason they're not higher is because I don't particularly believe in Franklin, but I do like them overall as a program.
Yeah, I thought it's funny, Mika. I thought I heard you kind of huff when I said Penn State. I thought you were disagreeing with me on the last one.
No, I thought we were gonna have the same one.
Oh no, we were very close on that one. Number 7, I got LSU. Historically, a really great job. I mean, it goes up and down, but obviously NIL is not a problem for them. They usually are a major player in the SEC. Great recruiting grounds in the state of Texas, and they're close to Florida. And they usually, not always, they keep all the good players of Louisiana. Stability, but not good enough. So we'll see. But the right coach, like if you get an Urban Meyer type coach for that program, my goodness, they'd be a monster.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Cory here. I got LSU at number 7. I mean, you're talking
Dang.
about 3 championships with 3 different coaches.
Sounds like another program I know pretty well here.
That tells me that what they have down there is an abundance of talent in their backyard, and they do a pretty good job, as Cory mentioned, of keeping home as well as tapping into the resources in Florida and Texas. So yeah, I've got LSU at number 7 as well.
Number 7, this is where I've got Clemson. Clemson to me feels like new money. They don't have a ton of tradition, but if you go to the trophy case, you're going to actually see trophies that people recognize these days. They play in the ACC. That's a ding against them. That's one of the reasons why I don't have Clemson in the top 5 is because I think their conference is incredibly weak. It's also the reason why I couldn't put Miami on this list, although I agree a lot with what you had to say about the Canes, Chris. And so if I'm only going to put one ACC school in my top 10, it's going to have to be Clemson. I think that now that they've tasted glory as a fan base, they're hungry to get back there. I think if Clemson fails to do better this year than they did last year, i.e., make the college football playoff and actually win a game, I could see that hot seat for Dabo getting awful hot there in Death Valley. So I got Clemson at number, 7. All right, number 6.
Number 6, I got USC. They have a photo recruiting ground. They always have money behind their program. They got great weather out there, which is always attractive to recruits and families. And you got the whole Hollywood thing. They got a history of um, Heisman's and award winners out there. I don't know how they're not doing better on the field than what they're doing. I put that fully on Lincoln Riley. I don't necessarily believe in him as a coach, but they're a great program out there.
Yeah, I think what Mika said's right. I mean, like a lot of these programs, it could be great. They just have the wrong guy. It
Yeah.
seems like Lincoln might be the wrong guy. We'll see what happens. They're going to give him every opportunity. They paid him a fortune. So, my number 6 is Eric. Salute to you, Notre Dame, for a lot of the same reasons. Look. I mean, their NIL is a little more conservative than a lot, but they've been spending more recently. And Mark, they got the right guy, Marcus Freeman. I'm sorry, Chris. I got the right guy, Marcus Freeman, at the head. And he's doing a great job, and he's a young, up and coming guy. I mean, that's what you want—a guy who can put himself at a young age, and he's not going to go anywhere most likely. So Notre Dame's a blue blood, so they just have every opportunity with that alumni.
At number 6, I've got to go with the Fighting Freemans of Notre Dame.
Chris, are we like copied each other?
Wait a second.
And here's my reasoning. Here's my reasoning. We're talking about the top 10 jobs in college football. Notre Dame is prestigious. We can't deny that. Granted, they haven't had a title since 1988, but they are a brand. And let's talk for a second about money. And that was one of Cory's big criteria. Notre Dame, because of their independent status, walked out of the playoff with $20 million, where the Big Ten teams walked away with approximately $1.1 million each because they had to share.
Dang, we should go independent.
Dollars. You can't tell me that's not going to help NIL. I mean, I know it's not supposed to, but you can't tell me it won't.
Well, after they tie 10%, we'll
that
see.
independent status right now is very much benefiting Notre Dame, and for that point, for that reason and that reason primarily, and because I do think, as I despise him, that Freeman does have that program going in the right direction. I think it is a top. Right now, I've got it at number 6. I think as you move forward over the course of the next couple of years, it is a top 5 job to have in college football.
We'll see. We'll see how the Pope affects it. He is an American. Hey, listen.
He's from Chicago. Is he a North?
He's from Chicago. He's a Villanova guy, apparently.
Well, luckily Villanova doesn't have a football program, I don't think.
They do.
Oh,
It's
they do?
just yeah, it's just Division One AA or whatever that is. Yeah, yeah. They play like Dayton and Youngstown
Gotcha.
State and those guys.
Didn't Howie
Um,
Long go there? That doesn't matter. Don't worry about
I
it.
don't, I don't know. I know this because they played Connecticut one time. I was like, wait a minute, Connecticut's playing a Villanova and it's not basketball. What's going on? I've got USC at number 6. I'm with Mika on this one. USC to me, again, if the right, do you want to know a scary scenario? Urban Meyer ends up at USC.
Way to
That
give
scares
me
the hell out of me right
nightmares.
there.
I mean, there. You guys remember when that rumor was floating around out there?
Yeah.
That you want to talk about somebody who would absolutely turn that program around in a year? It would be Urban Meyer. So you will see where
Well,
USC's at. There, like you said, I think Mika brought this up. Actually, no, I think it was you that brought this up first, Cory. They currently have the number 1 class in recruiting in the 2026 class. Um, if they can continue to do that routinely and not lose guys, they're going to be right up there with Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, in the Big Ten.
but Eric, do you think that Urban could coach the Divas in the pay-to-play era? I think that's a big
If he gets
issue
the right,
because of
no,
his
but if
mentality and his makeup.
okay, are we really going to go there?
I think
No,
Because
I'm just saying that
when
because of his mentality and his
when
makeup, his
Urban
old
walked
school
into
coaching
Ohio
style.
State in 2012, what's the first thing he had to do?
I think
That's
Urban has enough gravitas behind him that he could do it. I honestly do.
I know he still does. But when he walked in Ohio State in 2012, Chris, there was a country club mentality with the program that went 6-7, and he got their butts out of bed at 6 a.m. and he found out quickly who wanted to be here and play ball and who didn't.
Yeah, but at the same time, he didn't have to deal with an era of if you piss me off, I'm going to jump in the portal, or how much money am I going to make right now?
Yeah,
You
but
know,
how many guys would jump in the portal for the chance to go be coached by him to elevate their stock for the NFL?
I
Exactly.
agree with that to some extent, but I don't know. I question the mentality of the players and their ability to play under a old school style coach.
Honestly, it makes what Ryan Day is doing that much more impressive, to be
It
honest.
does, doesn't it,
It does.
Cory? It 100%. Chat, let me know. Tyler says I don't think he would work out in USC. Chat, let me know. Do you think Urban Meyer would be successful at USC or not? And let me know yes or no and why. I want to hear from Chat on that one. All right, let's move on to the top 5, Mika. Number 5.
Number 5, I got LSU. And the main thing why I have them here is they keep their homegrown players usually at home. We're making inroads there with Blaine, but they do a good job keeping the top ranked players at home and getting high level guys from outside their state. They always have a supportive fan base, and their NIL was impressive. They were almost landed Underwood with an impressive NIL offer. They're, so we know they're willing to pay their prospects coming in, and they've just been on the uptick, I think, and I think it's only going to get better if they can steer the ship right with the coaching staff. But that's why I have them number 5.
Number 5, I have Miami. Um, I'll tell you what, Eric, it's kind of funny you were saying because of the conference they're in, you dock them. I actually think that makes it even more of an appealing job. They have unlimited funds, an alumni network that will just give them whatever they want. They're not exactly a program that cares about playing by the rules anyway. And they've been shown historically they don't care about that. They can get that south of the I-4 corridor in Florida. The talent is ridiculous. It doesn't. It's like it doesn't even make sense. If they can just even recruit that area consistently, they'd be fine. I don't know if Cristobal is the guy or not. I know he's improved them. And within the transfer portal, with the amount of money they have, I mean, they've shown that they're on the cusp of making the playoffs. And in a weak ACC, I'd love to coach there and be like, great, I could win 9 games there. So to me, Miami is just like bubbling on the surface to be a really big time program.
Number 5 for me, quack, 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 Mr. Boggs. I got the Oregon Ducks. They've got Phil Knight's Nike Billions supporting them. They've been a pretty good program. Haven't crossed over and got that natty yet, but I'll tell you what, they came in and made a big splash in the Big Ten last year. So I think that they are right now a top 5 program.
Ready for a hot take?
Yep.
I don't even have Oregon in my top 10.
Well,
You want to know why? I don't
new
know where
money.
this. Number one, they haven't won a natty, but number two, what's going to happen when Phil Knight passes away? Where does that
He,
money go?
he
Is
donates
it,
his entire
He
fortune to Oregon.
donates
I'm
his
kidding.
fortune to the Oregon
does he
program.
though? We don't know
We're
that.
just kidding. I don't know.
He's probably got it in his will somewhere or something.
It's
I wouldn't be
certain in the
surprised if they don't have a nice stipend coming their way.
maybe. I'm at LSU at number 5 again. Great recruiting hotbed. Um, Again, if you the right coach is there who can build a wall around Louisiana and just get that home state pride building in there, which by the way, Brian Kelly ain't it. Um, it can work. They've won 3 national championships with 3 different coaches, like someone pointed out. Was that you, Chris? I think that
Yep.
said that maybe. LSU, I'm with Mika. They're a top 5 program, and they've won just as many national championships as Ohio State has since 2000. $10 super chat from our boy Dev. He says, "What's up, Ohio Pod?" Shout out Mika. Jordan Thomas committing to the Buckeyes tomorrow, 2025 Natty Lock. We're going to get into that in the second half of this show. Thank you for the shout and for the super chat, Dev. We love you, brother. Dennis, who lives out in Oregon, says, or out west, anyways. Eric, Uncle Phil has a foundation that will fund their NIL for years. Well,
I did hear that from Oregon fans. Yeah.
I would say good to know, but that's not good to know. Not good for us, huh? TG with an interesting comment. Current Urban at USC, no. Past Urban, yes. Interesting take. She might have to explain herself Tuesday night. That is an interesting take. Top 4. Here we go, Mika, number 4.
Number 4, I got Oregon for all the reasons you said. They got that Nike money, and they're consistently a thorn in our side when it comes to recruiting, and I think that's going to be that way for a while. And I think they're clearly our new up and coming rival. And I have respect for them. I think they got a great program.
Yep, let's just keep it rolling. I'm with Mika here. Number 4 is Oregon for me as well. I think Dan Lanning, they got a great young coach that doesn't seem to want to go anywhere. They take care of him, and he seems pretty happy there. They attack the portal with veracity. They've unlimited funding. I mean, Oregon's building a brand. Their stadium's amazing. Is an amazing home game for them. Not to mention they're on the West Coast, and there's a lot of appeal there. So, just basically them and USC could basically compete for that whole West Coast. And right now, I think they're kind of winning that battle overall. So, that being said, yeah, Morgan, I think right now is a top 5 job.
All right, so number 4, and I heard Mika kind of question the current coaches down there, and I agree. But this goes back to something we've talked about a lot, Eric. You never want to be the guy who replaces the legend. You want to be the guy who replaces the guy who replaced the legend. I got Alabama at number 4, and this is why. What Saban did, was incredible down there. And while they've fallen off the last couple of years, you're talking about 6 national titles in a span of 16 years. They're still fairly recent. That's still a good draw. They're still a premier team in the SEC. And I really believe that the appeal of playing in that program, that brand, is still there for a lot of players. We all know football in the South high school football in the South is great. So they've got decent recruiting down there. I think, again, it's a program that has been underrated a little bit list. So I got Alabama in it.
This is where I've got the Dogs of Georgia. Um, yeah, they've won two. They won two in a row. I think they've what? Were they up to three now? National
They got 3.
championships. They have three. So again, kind of feels a little bit like Clemson here a little bit. I don't know that Georgia is. There was a lot of talk about when Nick Saban retired, Kirby Smart could replace Nick Saban as the top dog in coaching, and Georgia was going to replace Alabama in college football. And then we saw what happened this year. And now I think that there's some major cracks in that foundation that has been built in Athens, Georgia. I think Georgia is a great place to recruit. You're a top 5 program. I think it would be a top 5 job, but I don't have it in my top 3 because I still think that you're overshadowed by 2 other schools in the SEC, and we'll get to them here. But I got the Dogs at number 4. Top 3, Mika. Here we go. Number 3.
Number 3, I got Texas. They they got the oil money, and I know for a fact the boosters are crazy. They have unlimited support as long as they're successful, and when they do bad, they get them out of there as quick as they can. And they're starting to really pick it up in recruiting. They always seem to land quite a few good in-state guys. They're doing better at developing players, and the culture's really coming around there too. So I think they're going to be one to watch for a while now.
All right, time for me to upset some people. My number 3 is Ohio State.
Aww.
Ooh.
And I'll tell you why, real quick. Obviously, they have the funding. They have the facilities. They have the AD now that wants to upgrade the entire atmosphere.
Is it because
And
they've got a psycho fan base, Cory?
Chris is too smart.
Lunatic fringe.
Because Ryan Day had to pull his kids out of school. I don't know if I'd want to deal with that even for 10, 12 million a year. His wife cried the day he got the job. Will never be normal again. I mean, you win 10, 11 games. It's not really good enough. And we have a really high standards here. Don't get me wrong. But I think that the stress of that is we saw it get to Ryan Day before he won the Natty. And all the money in the world he was making, all the prestige he had as the Ohio State head coach just wasn't enough to take that pressure off of him. If you lose you lose. We have the best rivalry in all sports. You lose that game, almost the fan base almost doesn't even care about the national championship in some degree. So at the mainly, I'm just saying it's an exceptionally tough job.
Oh, Cory, you make really, really good points, but I'm going to counter that in a minute because that's what we do here. All right, Chris.
I can't. What did
for it.
Bobby Mack say? I can't read it.
He said, "Time to drug test Cory."
Oh.
Colton wants me to kick you off the show now.
That's fair.
So number 3 for me, this is where I've got Georgia. You mentioned it, Eric. Maybe a little bit of recency bias in there, given what Kirby's accomplished there. But you know what? I feel like this is a team that could have easily been number 1 a couple years ago. But I think between the short resume and the fact that they're having so many problems with the program culture right now, it shies me away from putting them as one of the top 2 programs.
Here is another, if Urban was there, I'd be scared to death situation. Texas. Hotbed for recruiting. Plenty of NIL money. $40 million roster is what they're saying. Cory's saying no.
No, I'm shaking my head like, good Lord.
Yeah, that's double what everybody was complaining about with Ohio State last year. I have a sneaking suspicion Tex fans are a lot like Ohio State fans, in that if you don't win, it could probably be a tough place to be. But I think if you, just like Ohio State, could go to Texas and you win one, you're a legend. And if you win 2, they're probably putting a statue up about you. So to me, that's kind of one of my motivation is if I'm going to be extremely confident in myself as a coach, I want to go to a place that can help me succeed to win. Number one, because of all of its resources, recruiting, etc. And it's got history. They've done it before. The fan base is large. You know they're going to pour into it, and if you can do that, you become a legend. So I got Texas number three. Mika, you and I are very similar in a lot of these. We had USC, LSU, Texas all in the same spots. Number two, Mika.
Number two, I got Georgia. They're a consistent program. Kobe can step outside his front door, throw a rock, and hit a 5-star. So, they can recruit. They keep the most of the good players home, and they have their pick of the litter outside the state. They got NIL support like crazy, especially lately, despite having culture issues. Like, it seems like that would be a pretty fun place to coach, too.
Number two for me is Texas. Um, because again, ridiculous war chest. I think Sarkeesian is they're going to get tired of him just kind of being the bridesmaid. They're going to want him to get to that title game at some point here, but I just think they're on the upswing. The recruiting's really good. I think Sarkeesian's a great developer, pretty good coach, and again, just the amount of support they get at Texas is insane. So as far as like outside monetary support.
Yeah, for me, number two, this is where I've got Texas. Uh, the Longhorns, they're on the verge of being back. They really are. Deepest pockets in the sport, NIL gold mine. The entire state is just nothing but one giant recruiting platform. The only reason, you do have to say they've only won one title since the 70s. And as Eric said, the booster drama and the chaotic leadership can rival that of what we see in Columbus. But I think that this is one of the best jobs in the country if you are winning. And right now, this is a program that, though they haven't broken all the way through, is winning, and they're doing it in the SEC. It's not not the softball stuff where they were running through the Big 12 like before. They are running through a real conference now. So I got Texas at number two.
This is where I've got Bama. I can't, Bama has recently won the most national championships since 2000. And you said it yourself, Chris. You don't want to replace the legend. You want to be the guy who was the guy who replaced the legend. And that's what I would look at for this job coming up for somebody. I think it's a program that is still king in its conference. I think it's got a crazy good fan base, very vocal fan base, very supportive fan base. Is NIL the best there? No. Is it good enough? You betcha. You betcha. And the brand there is incredibly strong. I think I look at coaching at Alabama the same way I would look at coaching the Green Bay Packers in the NFL. It's a destination job. It's an opportunity that if you're given, you can't pass it up. So that's why I've got Bama number 9 on my list, only to one other school ahead of it. So it's time to talk about that, Mika. Why is Ohio State number 1?
Because we got everything. We got culture. We got NIL. We got recruits. Like, you can't tell me there's a team in the country that's got a better coaching staff than we do, and we got the best fan base ever. Like, yeah, there's crazies, but those crazies are everywhere. In every fan base. And can you tell me a program that gets more support when we do well, though? Because I can't. We got everything. And with Ryan Day, we got the culture around it to support all the good stuff we have.
You know, I wish you didn't share that. Whoever
Cory?
said that, because I was gonna do that as a joke, but now I can't even do it now. Say Michigan number one. No, um, my number one is actually Georgia. If you couldn't tell already, hot take: Bama's not in my top 10 right now.
Yeah, I'm sitting here adding them up, and I'm like, where's Bama for? I'm like, I've looked up and down your list. I'm like, wow, he put him out of the top 10. Corey, you got
Not
some
love.
you have some Spain to do.
I'm not in love with that job right now, especially coming out. I think Nick Saban was the outlier for that job. I think for the most part, from the early '90s till he got there, they were pretty mediocre as a program. But they don't have the right guy that they could absolutely fall off the map as a program. Even though they have a rich history, they're a blue blood, no doubt about that. I just think without the right guy, they're a 10-3, 9-4 type of program. Um, but Georgia right now, I mean, I still revere Kirby as the best coach in college football for the moment. I'm not saying Ryan Day can't pass him, or even Dabo can pass him. To be honest with you, if Dabo could, you know, get over a few hurdles there, but I think Ryan Day is in the best position to pass him. But right now, I mean, what he's done is extremely impressive. I thought Georgia forever was that program. It couldn't get over the hump, and he got him over the hump multiple times. So for me, right now, Georgia, Kirby is showing to me that Georgia has probably got the best program NIL wise, not the best NIL of any program, but the whole package essentially.
Well, we know, Cory, that they do lead. They've got more arrests than wins in the last 2 years. So
Yep.
I knew he was
that's
going to say
they-
that.
They're giving too many sports cars out. Obviously, good lord.
All right, so obviously I've got Ohio State at number one. Was there any doubt? I mean, come on. 9 national titles, over 900 wins. Since 1965, only Alabama has more national titles than the Buckeyes. Top 5 recruiting class pretty much every year. They're on autopilot there. The foundation leading the way with the NIL charge. I think Columbus is a top tier college town. You've got big city amenities. You've got a talent pipeline that, basically runs from Cleveland to Miami and from DC to Los Angeles. We have a national recruiting pipeline for all intensive purposes. I think also, obviously, we saw it last year with the expanded playoff. Ohio State is pretty much going to be a fixture every year in the playoffs. The downfall, obviously, and you mentioned it, Cory, you go 11-1, you go 10-2, you got people up in your face. But you know what? For the pay, the prestige, and everything that goes with it, I don't think that there is a better job in the country than Ohio State.
Ditto. Everything, all of it. The only thing that hesitates me would be location. Northern schools, I think, are at a disadvantage when it comes to recruiting. And it's just one of those things where we've had to overcome that. I think Urban Meyer's pitch, or I guess you could say his spin on that, was you're going to have to do it when you play in the NFL. You might as well come and get ready now. And I
He's
thought that
right.
was
That's
one of
right.
the most brilliant things that he did to overcome that. And so, yeah, I got Ohio State number one, and that's not just me trying to be a homer. I really do legitimately think that.
Man, I'm on here with 3 homers. No, I'm kidding.
Now, yeah, you are. Now, I'm going to put. Now, this is my opportunity to push back on Cory. But before I do that, $5 super chat from Bobby Mack. Mine is a little weird, but here we go. 1 Texas, 2 OSU, 3 Notre Dame, 4 LSU, 5 Clemson, 6 Georgia, 7 LSU, 8 Penn State, 9 Oregon, 10 A&M. It's not that weird. I see where you're going. I'm
I
seeing
Not
can
where you're
weird
see
at all.
going.
that.
Yeah.
I say we take Corey's Buckeye card.
No, we ain't taking Cory. Listen, he's the voice of the Buckeyes on Saturdays. If you
know,
don't,
I do
I
want to answer
know.
Andre Green. He kind of wished me on Dabo Swinney. Dabo, if he somehow got over these hurdles, would have 3 national titles. I'm not sneezing at that. Okay, if he somehow got over that, I don't think he will. I think he's stuck in 10-3 land. But that I'm just saying, I gotta respect what he's done.
okay. None of us had the team up north in our top 10.
Why would you want that?
Why
job,
would
Ryan?
you?
Why? Okay, here we go. Cory, you were the first one to say something. You go first, then Chris, then Mika. Go for it. Why?
Why would you want that job right now? Several investigations, and I just talked to somebody about this who has a good NCAA source today, got me thinking they're going to get hurt a little more than I thought originally they were going to get hurt. I mean, you're staring at a barrel of now they have some NIL problems allegedly, maybe some payment issues. It's a mess right now. It's just I wouldn't touch that job with a 10-foot pole. I'd go to I'm not saying I'd go to Akron or something, but I'd go to Cincinnati or something and wait it out until that team up north. My goodness, you just don't know what's going to come down the pike for them. I mean, their fan base can delude themselves all they want that nothing happened and there's no proof and this and that. There's no proof. This process isn't ongoing if there's no proof. So absolutely stay away from that job.
Yeah, absolutely right, Cory. And here's the thing. You mentioned it. Investigations. It's going to lead to, most likely, we know they're going to already have a new president. They're going to end up with a new athletic director. It's a team that's going to have sanctions coming out their ears for years to come.
Postseason bans.
You're going to have, I believe, 100%. There's going to be bowl bans involved. I believe 100%. There's going to be some type of a penalty. Now, you may see loss of scholarships. Are they going to try to find a way to penalize NIL? That's the question. Can they find a way to penalize NIL? Because if they do that, then they're really screwed because, as you said, Cory, I've heard the same rumors that they're already struggling with NIL payments. I've heard that, and I don't know if this is true, so let me just throw this out there. I don't know it's true. I have heard from a couple of people, though, that even Beavis Underwear hasn't even got all his money yet. So I don't know if that's true. If it is, how long does he stick around? We don't know. I mean, this is a program in total disarray, total chaos. And let me tell you, once that hammer comes down, you're going to see, I think, everyone desert that sinking ship. So you don't want a part of that.
Mika, your turn.
They're a dumpster fire of a program right now. There's no sugarcoating any of it. They're about to lose everything. Every good player they have on that roster is going to bail as fast as the people on the Titanic, if not faster. It's going to be awful, and I'm going to love every second of it.
You just gave me the perfect image in my mind. In the Titanic when it's sinking, the band was played while it was sinking.
That's their fan base right now. Yeah.
Heck, the band ain't even gonna be left on that ship, Eric.
I'm like, who's gonna be the band? I'm like, Tony Alford would be like, I'll do it. I'll lead that band.
He can't hear the music.
He'll just be the last rat to desert is all it is.
Oh, all right, guys. Well, I was doing some quick math. You guys want to know what our consensus top 10 is?
Bring it.
Number 10, Penn State. Number 9, Clemson. Number 8, Notre Dame. Number 7, USC. Number 6, Alabama. Cory really put them down by not having them in their list. Top 5, we have a tie for 4. LSU and Oregon both tied at 4. Top 3, Texas, Georgia's 2, and Ohio State, number 1. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, it is time to dive into some recruiting. Listen, if you're going to have Mika on your show, you're going to talk recruiting. That's just how it's going to go. So we're going to play the commercials. We'll be right back. Everybody hang tight.
Hey, Buckeye Nation. The OHIO podcast is thrilled to partner with Export Mouthguards, the innovators redefining protection in contact sports. Introducing the Ninja Pro Mouthguard, the strongest and most advanced mouthguard on the market. Engineered by dental experts, it's designed to deliver elite protection with a sleek, low-profile fit. Made with carbon fiber and multi-layer construction, it's impact tested to keep you safe from even the hardest hits. But that's not all. The Ninja Pro is 3D printed for 100% custom fit, offering unbeatable comfort and security for any athlete. From football to MMA, dominate your game with confidence while safeguarding your teeth and jaw. Getting started is easy. Use our home impression kit to create your custom fit and enjoy prepaid shipping. It's protection delivered right to your door. Plus, with a 1-year warranty and 100% satisfaction guarantee, and proudly made in the USA, the Ninja Pro is your ultimate defense on the field or in the ring. And here's the best part. When you visit exportguards.com, use promo code OHIO at checkout to get 20% off your purchase. That's right, 20% off elite protection made just for you. Protect your game, protect your future. Choose Export Ninja Pro mouthguards, where innovation meets protection. Head to exportguards.com and use promo code OHIO today.
The OHIO podcast is brought to you by Mastermind. Mastermind specializes in 360-degree high-definition mobile video mapping, GIS integration, and traffic safety studies. Mastermind cares about traffic safety and keeping you safe on the roadway. Visit Mastermind at onlinemastermind.com. Just a reminder, everybody, that today's show is brought to you by A Place at Home Senior Care. As your loved one recovers from recent hospitalization, stroke, or fall, or living with dementia and needing support at home, A Place at Home Dublin provides home care supportive services like bathing, dressing, mobility assistance, and medication reminders, all in the comfort of home. Learn more at aplaceathome.com/Dublin or call 740-472-8181. And on this Mother's Day, I could tell you that if my mom, thank goodness she's in great health, but if and when that time ever comes when some mom needs some assistance, this is who I'm going to. I've met these people. They are trustworthy. They run a tremendous business. They have great reviews, and we're tickled pink to have them as a sponsor here on the OHIO podcast. Also, spoke to a family member who's associated with Export Mouthguards today. They just signed a deal with an MMA star who had a terrible concussion, and literally they are testing if he can even fight again. And the doctor said, the only way I'm going to let you do that is if you wear this mouth and it gets tested. That's how good this mouth guard is, guys. It's unbelievable. Yes, I understand it's a little bit expensive. You don't want to put a $10 piece of plastic in your kid's mouth and think he's going to be okay. He's going to play a violent sport if he's going to play lacrosse, hockey, football, even soccer can get very, especially if they're hitting headers and things. Protect your child's brain. Put something in their mouth. Like, I don't know of a more important piece of protective gear you can buy than the one that's going to protect their brain. And you want that to be the mouth guard, because in football, the force is coming through the face, and it's going through your jaw, and that absorbs that impact and keeps the brain healthy. Go to export.com, put the promo code in OHIO. Not only are you helping our show, you're going to get 20% off. Nobody has that. Why? Because the owner's my brother. That's why. Okay? So that's why we get that 20%. Take advantage of it. You got kids, grandkids, go to Export. You're going to want to give them the best mouth guard in the business. All right. Mecah, let's talk some recruiting tonight, shall we?
Yep, we can do that.
All right, let's do it. Who is the next? Now, when I made this list, I was not aware that this was going to be an incredibly easy question to answer.
That's okay. I got backups.
I figured you would. I did as well. So, Mecah, I'll let you go first. Give us the obvious answer. Who is the next recruit to commit to Ohio State and why?
Jordan Thomas. I think he's the next one. Broken Catholic defensive back, cornerback. I think he could play safety if we needed him to, but I like him best at cornerback. Great size, great speed. He was the number one guy on my list for defensive back. And I just think he's a great character kid, and I think he's ours tomorrow.
Yeah, it's mine as well. He's, the announcement's coming tomorrow. Devin threw the super chat in there. He's pretty confident he's committing. On3 has him as Ohio State is the highest percentage. Is it A&M is the other school that is on there as well. Mika, I
Yeah.
think.
I think so. Last I checked.
Yeah, I think Mika on 3 saying it's going to basically be between Ohio State and A&M if I don't recall if I recall correctly.
To be
Um,
honest, I don't pay attention to what Con 3 says. Honestly.
are you a
Speak
more
it,
of a
Mika. Speak it. Those are facts right there.
247 girl?
Yeah, I usually
Okay.
use 247.
Chris, you know whose rankings everybody should actually listen to?
Personally, I would listen to the OHIO podcast rankings.
Yes,
That's
you
right.
should. They're awesome.
Our rankings take into account things you really care about. Plus, we don't actually rank a person until they're committed.
And you
I
do
think it
understanding of the rivalry too, which is awesome.
bingo bango. Corey, you got anything to add to this?
No, Jordan's going to be the next guy, obviously. Tim Walton's number one guy. And
Yep.
the only question I'd have, if it's for whatever goofy reason he went somewhere else, do we start to worry about Tim Walton a little bit?
Ooh, we're gonna get into that here in a little bit. Yeah, nice little foreshadowing there. Chris, anything else to add before we move on?
No, Devin let the cat out of the bag early, Eric. I mean, that's
Yeah.
it was going to be
Yeah, but he
Jordan
paid you
Thomas.
guys to let
Yeah,
the
He
he
did. You
did.
know
Yeah.
what? And we appreciate that, Dev.
That's right. That's right. Now, I do have a backup. Mika, I'm
I
going to
do.
ask you who your backup is. If obviously Jordan Thomas, but who would be the next one not named Jordan Thomas to commit to Ohio State and why?
I got Braylon Womack.
Ooh, the number one safety on the board.
Because I think he's been high on us for a really long time, and I think he's going to see the defensive backfield start to fill up and jump in.
Okay.
Either
I
him,
went I'm
oh,
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I'll let you go.
I went with Sincere Johnson, the linebacker from Cleveland Glenville.
That'd be a
I
great one.
Yeah, he's number one on the list for guys remaining in the state of Ohio. And when I did my list at the top, I did a list months ago after we won the national championship. And I started to look at recruiting top 5 guys from the state of Ohio that I want to see Ohio State get. We've gotten 3 out of those 5. Albert Hill went to USC, so we're not getting him. But Sincere Johnson was on that list. I think he's going to be a Buckeye. $2 super chat. Let's answer this one. Who is the worst recruiting source? Bobby Mack says, I think it's ESPN.
Agreed.
You
Agreed.
agree, Corey? Why?
I've hated ESPN rankings forever. And it seems like whenever Ohio State guy gets who's previously highly committed commits to Ohio State, all of a sudden he drops. I can't remember what year it was. I used to follow this extremely closely, but we had a number 1 recruit in the country, and all of a sudden he was a number 12 or something after he committed. I can't stand ESPN.
Yeah, it's definitely ESPN.
So SEC slanted, it's ridiculous. And obviously that's because they're in league with the SEC. So
Right. Yeah, followed closely by Con 3 is what Mika called him.
that's true. That's true.
What do you guys think about rivals?
I don't follow rivals. They're okay.
You know, my thing is all of them can be bought and paid for, and that's where my issue lies. I think maybe next year, Eric, we're just going to have to do our own list.
I trust my own eyes.
I've thought a lot about now that I own the college huddle on one day actually trying to do that and just having everybody, since we have all the regions covered with podcasts saying, hey, do your own rankings from your state or whatever. And then kind of combining those and seeing if, it's just an idea I've had. All right, moving on. Let's talk which position group. And Corey, you were dancing on this one, and I really do think that this is something that needs to be discussed. Which position group / assistant coach are you worried about in recruiting this year, and why? Corey, I'll start with you on this one.
Well, my number 1 concern is Larry Johnson right now, but and it's mainly because I think other guys can make up for it. I think Larry's been, he gets a hit every now and again, but he's been lacking on his big time recruiting in a little while here. I just obviously his age is playing into it. I just wonder at what point do we start to make that transition, and then I was thinking about today, like obviously a lot of kids will be like, well, will he be there when I'm, the 3 years I'm there? And I thought to myself, well, even if we had a young coach who was a great defensive line coach, he might not be there either. But the difference is, with a youthful guy, the potential for him to be there is there. Whereas, Larry's 72 years old. I mean, still a really good coach, but can he really keep up with recruiting these days? I'd at this point, I'd prefer to get somebody younger who knows the new recruiting game better than what maybe the older coaches do. I think there's a reason why guys like Hartline and Laurinaitis are just killing it. But if it weren't for Larry, if it weren't for Jordan Thomas, I'd start to worry about Walton a little bit, even though he has been a really good recruiter. Because with Braylon Womack, we'll have 3 safeties basically, and then we don't really have any corners right now, do we?
Not yet, not until tomorrow.
Yeah, until tomorrow. I know Thomas was his number one guy, so it is key to say you got your number one guy. That's a big one. So
Who am I
I
missing?
think Weatherspoon could play corner if we needed him to.
Yes.
That was what I was about to say, Mika. Thank you. I was trying to think of the name.
He'd be a good nickel guy,
Yeah.
I think, too.
And one of the things that they have been talking about this offseason is secondary players. They are teaching them just about every position back there to say where are you going to fit at, where are you being able to play multiple positions, I think is really critical because of injury and depth now. So a lot of these guys aren't just going to be unless you're a lockdown corner, then okay, we understand. But you're going to play multiple safety positions. You might be able to play the nickel. And, oh, by the way, you might be our best corner. Oh, too? Okay, we're going to put you at corner then. So I think that there's some of that. By the way, I've been trying to catch all of the recruiting questions. We're going to throw those in at the end. Look who just became a member, everybody. It's the Cadence Slayer. Burks. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you, man. What a name. Burks the Caden the Manslayer. All right, what Caden, Chris, what do you think Caden's gonna be next? What character? What do you think Dan's gonna be next?
I can't. I really can't. I have no words at this point for Dan. Did you ever get the pictures, or are we still going on the assumption that he's down there with a blow-up doll?
Still waiting on them pictures. I don't know.
I got odds on Smokey the Bear as his next character.
Smokey the Bear. Only you can prevent forest fires. Dan the Man. All right, let's move on. Chris.
Yeah.
What position coach or position and or coach are you worried about in recruiting?
Well, Cory talked about it, and I think we got to have a serious conversation about Larry Johnson and this defensive line group. If you look at this, we've only got one top 100 recruit in that class, this year's class, the 25 class, that being Zion Grady, and we don't have anybody committed for the 26 cycle yet. That's an issue. That's a big issue.
And all of a sudden, defensive tackle depth's an issue. Yeah.
This is exactly. And this is, from a program that for the longest time, right up through Chase Young, was considered DEU, or defensive line U. We had the Bosa's, we had Chase Young. You can go back to Fickle and all, but I mean, we have a lot of unknowns on that line right now. And we have not done a great job of stackpiling elite talent along the line. Now, thankfully, the portal's been very helpful. We got Thor coming in this year, and I think he's going to be a major impact player. But you can't count on the portal every year. You've got to get some of these guys in and develop them. And right now, as Cory mentioned, Larry Johnson's 72, going to be 73 this year. We have to just start wondering, is the game starting to pass them by a little bit with the way things go with the recruiting now, with the NIL, with the portal? Is the game just slipping away from Larry Johnson? And I hope not, because he is a tremendous coach. He is the GOAT of defensive line coaches. But you know what? Even Bill Belichick's time came to an end in the NFL, So is that what we're looking at? Are we looking at that line in Larry Johnson right now? That's my big concern.
Bobby Mack, is there a rumor LJ is retiring after this season and they are bringing in Jason Taylor in? That rumor about him retiring has been
For like
every
5
year for
years
the
now.
past 5, 6 years. Yeah. I think what we're seeing is a lot of negative recruiting to his age.
And it's
And
fair. I mean, it really
well,
is.
everybody's using it against the team up north, and look how it's affecting them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. They deserve it. I don't think Larry deserves that, but reality is the reality here. Father Time is undefeated, guys. So, yeah, I think that's definitely something to keep your eye on. I was surprised he didn't retire after winning the Natty last year. I was really kind of surprised by that, but he might come out this year and the freaking defensive line lights it up, and we're all singing his praises. So you just never know.
That's never happened.
Mika,
We've never been
Well,
wrong about a coach before.
Eric, to be fair, I
never.
don't think
We
anybody
don't
has questions.
overreact ever.
I don't think anybody questions his ability to coach. It's the recruiting aspect of it right now that's the question.
Exactly. It's the recruiting part of it that I'm not sure about anymore.
Is he your pick as well? Is that the position group
Yes,
coach? Yeah. Okay.
for for all the reasons you guys said, and I was really hoping they would bring like someone to learn underneath him and then like take over as he sort of phased out. But the guy that went to Texas was the guy I thought was gonna do that, but he ended up going to Texas, and then the what's his name, Tony something that we got now doesn't seem to be very active on the recruiting trail. So I don't know what's happening there. I really want them to get a guy that can, you know, come in, maybe learn under Larry, and he can just sort of take a step back if he doesn't want to back out fully, just to have someone to cover the recruiting part of it, because like all the recruiting interviews that I've seen and read about recently, a lot of the defensive line recruits, they bring up how they love Larry and everything, but they just don't know if he's going to be there the entire time they're there. And that's what I think is causing them to hold off on their decision. I think we're in good spots for a lot of guys, but when you have a coach that is that age, I don't blame them for asking the question, is my coach going to be there the entire time I'm there?
Fair. What's your thoughts on Keenan Bailey, guys?
I like him so far.
I love Keenan.
I think he's
Yeah.
rebuilt that tight end room.
I love his fire. He's fiery. He brings energy. He's a great recruiter. He gets who he targets and he develops them. He goes after well-rounded guys, not just like straight receivers, or straight blockers. He wants well-rounded guys, and if you're not that, he will try to develop you into that, and I like that.
Is Brian Hartline overrated? I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, yeah, you're
I
kidding,
would.
right?
That's the end of that.
I was about ready to come through the computer and smack you.
listen. I was on the Oregon podcast last week where they broke down the roster of Ohio State, and he's a huge analytical guy, and he goes, "What makes you think Brian Hartline's going to be good as an offensive coordinator?" I go, "Because everything he's done up to this point, he's freaking awesome. What makes you think he won't be?"
Why even ask that at this point? We none of us know for sure, but he has absolutely earned the right and the chance to do it. And Ryan Day
100%.
and Ryan Day being the offensive genius that he is, I trust him and who he hires and who he gives the play calling to. That's his baby. He loves play calling, but he knows he can't do it anymore as the head coach. And I'm gonna trust who he gives it to.
If the spring game was any indication against the Manila defense, I understand that. Look doggone good calling plays. I was impressed.
People like to
was
point to 2023, and I say, guys, you can get better at things.
well, he didn't even call plays.
I know, but in the
It,
summer they were saying how it was
yeah,
bad or whatever, and I'm like, well, so what if it was? I mean, even if he was horrible into it, you can get better if you work at it.
guys,
There's
do we not have we so forgotten what was going on with Ohio State in 2023?
it was perfect. Everything was
We had a
fine.
quarterback competition with two guys who aren't,
That
you
weren't near
know,
the talent of what we have right now.
Exactly.
100%.
And by the way, Kevin Wilson left. Nobody talks about that. It's like that was a huge freaking loss. It's like nobody wants to bring up Kevin Wilson. I had fans yelling at me saying he's not that big a loss. He was Ryan Day's right-hand man. He's absolutely who Ryan Day would have given the play calling to.
Cory, you and I, man, I had to convince Chris of this. Chris was, Kevin Wilson won. And then when Kevin Wilson left and then he saw what happened, he went, Ryan Day was dependent upon
True
Kevin
story.
Wilson.
Against Notre Dame in 2022, when Ryan Day refused to try to run the ball on him, it was Kevin Wilson in the headphones screaming at Ryan Day, "Run the bleeping ball, you idiot!" And they started running the ball in the second half, and we won that game. He had the guts to tell Ryan Day he was wrong. Nobody else on staff that year had the guts to do that.
You need those type of guys on a coaching staff too.
Absolutely.
My favorite Kevin Wilson story. You guys ready for this? Chris, I know you know where I'm going to go with this. So we are going to Bloomington, Indiana to watch the game. Aaron, my first co-host, and our buddy Carl, who Chris knows. I made a sign. This we opened the season at Indiana. JT Barris last year, I think. So it was 18,
17.
right?
Yeah.
17, 2017. All right. And I made a sign that said it had Kevin Wilson's picture on it, huge. And we used our huge printer at work, my boss, and we made this thing massive. Huge picture of Kevin Wilson that says, "Dear Indiana, thank you for fixing our passing game. Signed, JT Barrett." Had a picture of Kevin Wilson. And in
I love it.
in the fourth quarter, when it was done and over with, and they're starting to exit, I turn around, and as they're walking down the aisle, I'm holding up. As they're walking down the aisle, oh man, were they mad? But there were some of them that were laughing. They're like, "That's pretty funny." But yeah, that was my Kevin Wilson story. Okay, moving on. This ought to be interesting. Your top 5 list of uncommitted recruits who you would like to see Ohio State land. We'll just let you give you your whole list, your top 5. So start at number 5, work your way down to number 1. Mika, you can go first.
Okay. Confession time. I did 6. I couldn't break it down to 5. I just couldn't. But here we go. Number 1, I got Luke Waffle, DE out of Hun School in New Jersey. I just love him. He reminds me so much of Jack Sawyer. I love his energy. He's amazing. And we need defensive ends. And he would be my number 1 guy at the defensive end position to get. I love everything about him. I love the energy he plays with. He's awesome. He gets out to the quarterback. He can stop the run. He gets fumbles. He has active hands. He's great. Number 2, I got. Hold on a sec. Number 2, I got Deuce Gerald's because again we need defensive line help, and I think he could be defensive tackle or defensive end. He's dominant. He's a great line stopper. He plays with violence. He's got great personality. He's the leader of his team, and I think that'll translate well to Ohio State. Number 3, I got Chance Smith because he has the ability to play tackle or guard. I love his size. He's about 6'6", 325. Great personality, great leader, loves the program, and I think we're starting a pipeline at Vero Beach. especially if he commits. Number 4, got Darius Gray. He's my ideal center for this class. He's smart and got great feet, and he's not afraid of competition. Gave Jakeem Stewart all he could handle at camp, and just loves to stick his nose in there and get nasty. I think he's awesome. And number number 5, I got Favor Aki and PJ Dean. I love Favor's game. He's an Ohio kid. I think he has the potential to be a great back. He's good at catching the ball. He can spread out wide, catch the ball, do crazy things in the backfield. I think he has the frame to put on weight and really push the pile once he gets in with Coach Mick and everything. And I just really believe in him as a player, and I think he could be great. And PJ Dean, I love his versatility. He has the ability to play O line or D line. He wants to play D line in college, but he said if that doesn't work out, he's willing to switch to O line if the team wants him to. He's just a great kid, great personality, and I would love to get all these guys.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you have Mecah on your show. That was a ton of information. Now, Mecah, we're going to be coming back to you here shortly. There's a couple questions that people have asked that I've starred that I want to ask you about recruiting. Cory, you want to go next? Did you make a top 5 list?
I didn't make a top 5, but I did have backups for who we could look for. But I mean, Mika's list is great. I mean, Darius Gray's a guy, and what I loved about his interview one time is he said about Ohio State, what he loves about Ohio State is the fact that they are open about their faith, and I thought that was extremely interesting. You don't ever hear recruits really talk about that too often. Anything interior, anything line of scrimmage. I'm a line of scrimmage is king guy. PJ Dean, I like. Oh yeah, you have to be. I mean, I don't care what changes in football ever take place. If you don't win the line of scrimmage, you're not going to win in any level of football. So I don't know the list nearly as well as Mika does. That's a fact. So, but guys, I like PJ Dean, Darius Gray, obviously. Braylon Womack's a guy I want. Obviously, I'm glad we're getting Jordan Thomas, and I'll finish it off with Sincere Johnson. I really Tyler Atkinson as well. I love getting really good linebackers. I love the fact that Laurinaitis is rebuilding the linebacker room. But again, line of scrimmage is king. Bowen, do your job, and we got to also figure out what we're doing with defensive line recruiting.
Chris?
All right, so I'd love to get a lot of these guys. I know some of them we probably won't, but obviously, my number one guy is still Felix Ojo, like Cory. I'm a big line of scrimmage guy, and I think he is a big time player.
I think he's Texas's now.
I think he's Texas
as well.
Yeah, they up that NIL on him to the point where he can't say no.
And we'll never pay a freshman that kind of NIL.
No.
Yeah. But again, Mika mentioned Luke Waffle, Braylon Womack, of course, Caleb Downs Jr. That's what he looks like to me.
Wow. You're gonna put that type of expectation on him? Holy smokes.
And then I'll tell you, I had I'm gonna call this my AB, which is either Savion Hittner or Favor Aki. I think that could be very interesting because if you look at the way that their visits lay out, you have Favor Aki visiting a week after Hitter, but a week before Carson Baker, the 4-star out of Georgia. So that's going to be a real active stretch there for running backs. But then, of course, PJ Dean as well. I think this is a guy that's potentially going to play D-line. But obviously, as Mika mentioned, has the versatility, can play O-line as well. And then Sincere Johnson was my number 5 or 7.
I went with 5 guys who I think 5 guys. I went with guys.
I have no doubt you've gone with 5 guys more than once, Eric.
Ouch.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
my
sorry,
favorite.
Podfather.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Um,
I can go for a burger right now. Yeah.
no
That's
kidding.
right.
Do you have $100 to spend on that burger? Because that's what you're about going to need if you go to Five Guys.
Yeah. I'll take
I
a
went with Five Guys, who I believe Ohio State is sitting really good with, and
Okay.
I could definitely see them committing. Number 5, I've got offensive guard Micah Smith from Fort Pierce, Florida. His recruitment is looking really good towards Ohio State. Obviously, when you say anybody from Florida, it gives me concern because they like to do the flippy floppy thing late in the process and then go to a Florida school. But I think Micah is good interior lineman. I think he's going to end up being a Buckeye. At number 4, I went with defensive tackle, and I've seen his name floating around there in the chat from a few of you guys. I went with Aiden Harris from Matthews, North Carolina. Sounds like he might be one who commits rather quickly here to the Buckeyes, so I'm good with that. Number 3, I went with running back Savion Hitter from Mineral, Virginia. And by the way, you would say, wait a minute, Boggs, don't you want the Ohio kid at running back? Yeah, I think we get them both. I think Favor Key and Hitter are a 1-2 combination. And I think they're always going to try to do that. I think they're going to try to get 2 running backs in every class, if not more sometimes, because they want to have that duo from here on out. That's how they're selling it. They've been pitching that for years that way, and it seems to work. By the way, little nugget on Favor Key, since I live here in Delaware, Ohio, and that's where he plays ball. Do you guys want to guess how many years he's actually only played football?
2.
3.
This will be his 4th year. That's it. He's so raw. He's been playing on just raw talent alone. Watch out. I was told, watch out when he finally understands why he does what the coaches are asking him to do. This is going to absolutely just explode in the recruiting rankings this year. So, yeah, he's done this all on just raw talent. Number 2 is Sincere Johnson. He's my number 1 kid from the state of Ohio that's uncommitted. And, of course, number 1, Chris called him, put way too high expectations on him, in my opinion, but Braylon Womack from Mississippi. That's my top 5. Yeah. Did you see they moved Chris Henry to the number 27th overall and number 4 wide receiver on 247?
That's the Buckeye effect.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And
I'm
that's
sure.
why these
I think
recruiting
Harlan's going
pages
to take a
can be
Scully
trusted.
away now. So
Same with Brady Edmonds. That's the
That's
reason
why
they
these
go.
pages can't be trusted, guys.
All right, let's go to these starred comments about recruiting. Great show, guys. Any thoughts on Tyler Atkinson? I think you actually brought him up, didn't you, Mika?
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like our chances with him. I know everyone says he's going to Georgia, but I really like our chances, especially if Georgia spends all their NIL on other recruits, which I'm hearing they are the landing spot for Cantwell, and I've read that might affect Atkinson, and he really likes our program. I mean, he's been to Ohio State like 6 or 7 times on visits and stuff, and he just raves about how much he likes our program, and he said in an interview that we're the leader for him right now, and I take him at his word. I don't think he's the type of kid that's gonna play games, and I think if I were to pick right now, I think he's a Buckeye.
All right. Well done. Okay.
it'd be nice if we have to force Georgia to spend more money to keep that kid too. That'd be helpful.
It's like you go to an auction, you start bidding up the other person.
Yep.
And it's like, you get it to the point where like it was painful and then you're like, I'm out. And it's like I never wanted him anyways.
We cooled on him. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well God, don't get me started on
And
stupid
about
things we'd say.
and you brought up Harris.
What was that, Mika?
You brought up Harris earlier. I got bad news. I think we're out on him. I
Yeah.
think he's cooled on us. I think he's gonna end up going to
Has
Auburn
he?
or staying south. Yeah, he's really cool.
Ah,
He's really cooled on us.
I agree with
I
Mika on
think
that one. Yeah.
I think he's gonna stay south. I hate it, but I think it's gonna happen.
Another Another reason, I guess, to look at our defensive line recruiting a little bit there. Will Buck asks, is it me or does it seem Ohio recruits have been ranking higher lately? Kids from the state of Ohio need to keep the borders closed, but seems like some are slipping by. That it's not just you. Ohio, the last 3 years have had really, really good classes in the state of Ohio. Really good classes. Um, I think there's been a couple things that have happened.
Well, we started doing 7-on-7 for one thing, Eric.
That's that is real new.
Yeah.
That is just started. But a lot of Ohio kids at the cornerback, quarterback, wide receiver positions, the skilled positions, have been playing on travel teams outside the state of Ohio. And that has helped them get, I think, recognized on a national level, which has helped the overall rankings. Ohio's been very good at powerlifting as a sport, which helps your linemen out. That's been going on for decades. So just another reason why I think you really want a Midwestern kid to play the line. But yes, that movement of 7-on-7 where these kids have actually been going out and playing. They'll go to Nevada, they'll go to Florida and play, and they get seen by these scouts more.
And
That's a
plus,
big reason.
with NIL, kids got don't have to worry about um travel as much, so they can go out of state if they want to. They don't have to worry about, is my mom and dad gonna be able to come see me play and all that. And I think Ohio State's got to get used to the fact that, you know, these Ohio kids are not a slam dunk anymore. So
Right.
some of them are not getting the constant love that they're getting from out of state programs like Oregon or USC. They're saying, "Oh, they don't want you as much as we do. Look at how much we're going to give you, and you in state. Well, they don't want you." And I think that's what's happening. And we got to come to terms with the fact that if we want an in-state guy, we're gonna have to step up and really go after him,
Yeah.
push for it.
Yeah. That's a great point, Mika. 100%. All right, last thoughts on recruiting, guys. Anything else? Cory, Chris, you guys got anything else on recruiting?
Well, I just want to build off what Mika was saying. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to treat Ohio almost like we treat the nation at this point because it's open game with NIL. I agree with what Mika's saying. Like that, we like you more. Like we're willing to give you 500 grand more. There's no reason. Like in the past, a Hill would have definitely gone to Ohio State, and for those reasons Mika mentioned that, like, well, I can play close to home, close to family. I don't want to go all the way to West Coast, things like that. So it's just a different ball game altogether. So I would say people don't freak out if we lose an Ohio kid. It's not the same as it was during Tressel's era where he locked up Ohio pretty much. It's just going to be a different ball game from here on out with the transfer portal and NIL.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Cory. It is a different ball game, and here's the thing: as much as, and again, this may sound weird coming from me, as much of a critic as I have been historically of Ryan Day, we just got to trust in Day and these coaches that they know what's right. Now, I've been on here and I've shouted and shouted and shouted, we need the Ohio kids, we need the Ohio kids, and I agree with that. But in this day and age where the kids can be bought and paid for, you're going to lose some. So what you need to focus on is getting the best character guys in Ohio, getting the best 3-star guys in Ohio,
Yeah.
and try to get those top prospects, but don't bid yourself out of the game in the process of doing so. So, I think for kids like Jack Sawyer, for kids like maybe Jack Sawyer is the one that jumps out at me most, but because he's played in that NIL era, you need to really attack their passion for the university. and make them understand that we have got to, you may have to give a little to get, because we have to be able to pass this around to create the best possible team to give you the best possible chance at glory at Ohio State, which is where you want to be. So, yeah, we're going to lose some. But as long as we keep getting those character guys, those guys who are truly passionate about being Buckeyes, and getting those 3-star prospects who have potential to be great, then I think we're going to be okay.
That's where Luke Fickle was the king, finding those
Yes.
3-star guys.
Yeah.
100%, Cory.
Definitely.
You have to be able to recognize when rankings are wrong.
Yes.
I think it's something that Luke Fickle took pride in, taking the time to actually go to the player, learn about the kid, watch the player live. You know, there's so many things you miss when you're just watching film, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially highlight films. If you just watch highlight films, you're doing yourself a disservice. You have to watch the whole game. But even beyond that, go watch the game in person.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you a completely different perspective than just watch the film. And Luke would do that. He would watch these kids. Brandon Lee, I think, was the 3-star from New Albany, wasn't it?
Darren Lee?
That was
Darren Lee. Darren Lee. That he, like, no one wanted him. Urban didn't want him, and he, like, really invested in that young man and ended up being a stud.
Yeah, he was a quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but he also played defense too, and Luke was able to see the athleticism and things. But yes, I think Chris and I have made this argument forever. If you're deciding between a mid to low 4-star from out of state and a high 3-star from Ohio, I think you take the Ohio kid. I've always made that argument. I'll continue to make that argument. And especially in this era now of the transfer portal, I believe a kid from Ohio is likely to give you one more year before he jumps in the portal than a kid from not from Ohio will.
I think it kind of depends on comparable athletes. Like if the 4-star kid from like Florida is just that much better of an athlete than the 3-star kid from Ohio, I think you got to kind of make concessions there. But if they're extremely similar, I'd go Ohio kid every time.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, guys, great show this evening. It was a lot of fun. Mecah, thank you so much for joining us this evening. You're just a doll, you know it.
Thanks.
Uh,
Anytime.
we love
Anytime,
you.
guys.
Buckeye Nation loves you. The Pod Squad loves you. It's so awesome to have you with us this evening. And to all your mamas out there, happy Mama's Day. You know, I've often thought that our birthdays, really our mom should be the one who celebrates, because I did nothing on to be here. Like, my mom did all the work. So why are you telling me happy birthday? Congratulations on going around the sun another year, you lazy bum. Like on my birthday, I feel like should be another Mother's Day. But anyways, have a great day, everybody. We appreciate all of you. Tomorrow night, Chris, 8:00 Eastern, you're gonna be fielding some phone calls.
Oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait. I have not got a topic in mind yet, Eric.
Oh, of
I'll
course.
be one of them.
I could talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers right now if you want.
I don't want to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I definitely do not want to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers. I would almost just rather talk about the Cleveland Browns than the Cleveland Cavaliers, because right now they suck equally.
If you haven't already, smash the like button on your way out, guys. We really do appreciate that. That'll help put this in front of more people there in the old algorithm. Thank you so much, Roy. Yesterday, Chris and I got to spend a little time with our buddy Roy there. And by the way, next week's show, Alan DeGraffenreid, former Buckeye, former NFL wide receiver, Alan DeGraffenreid will be with us to join the roundtable. We'll have some more topics to talk. Plus, we'll turn it over. We'll let Chris and Cory ask him some questions, and the chat ask some questions to Alan. He's got quite the story. was recruited to Ohio State to play soccer, was given a chance to kick, and ended up being a wide receiver who made it to the NFL.
Awesome.
Who has that kind of story to talk about? Alan DeGraffenreid does. So we're going to talk to him next Sunday. It's going to be great. Have a great week, everybody. Make sure you check out tomorrow's call-in show with Chris. Tuesday night, the Buckeye Lounge will be back open for more great topics, discussion, and chat. Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. Of course, Thursday night, the call-in show, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll have some videos between now and then. Chris and I need to do a members-only recruiting video for all of you guys. We'll be getting to that here soon
Might have
as
to
well,
do two
guys.
tomorrow, Eric.
Yeah, we might. You're right. We might probably 2 of them coming your way this week, guys. Have a great week, everybody. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carbon Ohio with all your heart. Till next time. OH!
Ayo.
Ayo.
Go Bucks!